No, it's
Different.
Okay, trustees, we are live. We are recording. Phone lines are open. You are good to go.
Okay, welcome everybody to the regular trustee meeting, June 27th, 2022. And I'd like to open with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Arlene, can you do roll call, please?
Certainly. John Aldridge.
Here.
David Cataletto.
Here.
Francis Bob.
Here.
Ben Dollinger.
Here.
Tim Garneau. Jim Grimes.
Here.
Susan McGraw-Keever.
Here.
Mike Martinson. Bill Taylor.
Here.
Thank you.
All right, we normally start with public comment. There's nobody in the room. Matt, is there anybody on the phones?
You have 0 calls on the line. Thank you.
Okay. We'll move on to new business. Largest clam contest, confirm the date.
Yes, I spoke with John recently, and he gave us 2 dates, and the best date for the moon and the ability to collect the go clamming is October 9th, and that is a Sunday.
That will be, is that,
All of September is not available for people on the board here as well, so you're not here.
No.
Okay, the next date that would be available would be October 26th.
No, it's too late.
I
Go
know.
ahead and do your.
So October 9th?
October 9th?
When was it? What was the date last year?
Sunday. It was October 3rd, I think, or something.
Okay.
The 9th is Columbus Day, too.
Closer, yeah.
October 9th?
Yeah.
Well, you know what? September's gone.
Yeah, so
It's not
October 9th is like our week last week, I think.
Yes, that's it, October 9th. So
Do it then.
here is my next question. Would anyone here on the board like to be the chairperson of this event?
You're the chairperson of this.
No, there's been no vote on this, and I have not said one word.
I'd like to nominate Susan.
Unless Dave wants to. I did it my first.
Unless maybe John,
Yeah.
John?
Susan,
John,
somebody
can you
that's
hear
not
us?
here.
Right?
What?
So, yeah.
Mike?
Mike, he's not here.
How about Tim?
So I will say, thank you, Mr. Grimes. I assumed I would take the role since no one else has
You've
volunteered.
earned them.
No,
And
you're
I've
so
done
good
it
at it.
before. Oh, you're
so
so,
Yeah,
so
you did such a
really
good
are.
job last year.
So
You had
complimentary.
the best, you're,
Flattery will get you nowhere.
yeah, you're responsible.
Apparently it already
for the
has.
best Clam contest we ever had.
Well, thank you so much for that compliment.
Many
That's
people
because
have
it took all
commented
of
on
you
last year's
to
as
help.
They really did.
Yes.
It was a
All
huge
of you
check.
to help.
I don't know if it's
Arlene
just
and Allison
people
did a
coming in.
fantastic
I
job.
bet everyone has.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Anyway, so I will be the chairperson if that's okay by you. Mr. Grimes, you will not be participating because you'll be away?
Won't
Yes?
be here. No.
Okay. And I understand your daughter is getting married September 24th?
Yep.
So congratulations to your daughter. And David, I'd like to ask if maybe the education committee might, I will need volunteers to help as always. So David, since you're the newest person,
Commanders.
I'd like to talk with you about it too, because that would be helpful.
Yeah.
Okay, so the other item for this is the budget. Last year, we budgeted for, I believe it was
Yes, correct.
6,000, and we ran over by $500, which was approved when we realized that we needed more. But I'd like to ask this time if we could have a budget of that 6.5 at least,
I think,
because I think we'll
you know,
need
I
it.
think we're gonna probably be doing more emphasis on like clam pies and stuff.
We're doing clam pies
You might
again.
wanna just go a little higher.
Yeah.
Like,
7?
The clam pies was
I
a.
was thinking 10.
Are we really seriously gonna spend $10,000 on a party? Or might just do them?
Well, we could have a lot left over and not use the 10.
Yeah.
We did it at 65 last time. We had a wonderful, you weren't here, but a wonderful clam bake.
Well,
And that was-
Susan, you might be asking, where's that money going?
It goes in the, I don't know.
It mostly goes to the food, and then just those metal baskets are about $1,500, and then just the T-shirts are $1,000. And we've been buying gifts because of COVID, and we didn't want to put too much pressure on the local
A lot of
businesses,
stuff
and that's
that was
about
donated
another
and paid for last year,
1,500.
just
Because of COVID.
because of
We wanted to
COVID.
help the community, and so we didn't ask for free unless somebody
How many
had.
clams did we go through? We bought
You went and got the second,
That was the
Yeah.
first year we had to pay
Yeah.
Dan.
800,000 clams, Jim.
and we had a band.
We had a house.
There's always difficulty getting prices.
But we could review the expenses and see,
Oh,
It goes towards, we had a band too. That was a U-Chat. So
yeah,
we do that
the
again.
band was huge.
Face
And a
painter.
lot of people donated, the face painter was 400, that was for the kids. We also had our next door neighbor bring their boat over for the raffle, they did very well, now we'll invite them again.
There was both of them.
Yes. Mhm.
So 10 might be a little high, but I think we
Yeah,
should
no,
up
well,
it
Yeah,
from
I mean,
the
it's
65.
10 would practically double. You know,
Yeah,
approach
yeah, yeah.
Doubling.
Yeah.
So why don't we just do, how about
Let's
seven?
say 8.
All right, 8?
But it is our
Whatever.
big one-day event that we really splurge for, and it's a U-Chat. People really enjoy it. Brings awareness to the community of what we do. So,
So shall I make a motion then
sure.
for, what, is there a number that you said, 8?
8.
8? Motion for 8,000 for the largest clam contest on
We could
October
say
9th?
a max of 8. We don't have to go up to it.
No, you don't have to.
It's just the top numbers.
And we'll be
Mandatory.
conscious of where we're at.
And also this year, I'm starting this earlier because I'm afraid with the ordering of baskets and T-shirts, things could be delayed because
Supply
they are
chain,
delayed.
stuff like that.
So I want to get this underway.
Good thinking.
Yeah.
I'll second.
Okay.
Okay?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Just get some nice gift cards to Native Plants.
Jim, have you abstained?
I don't, yes.
Aye. Is there any, do we want to discuss the actual entries of the clams? Because we've had in the past one person winning 5 baskets, and it kind of makes it, I think, disappointing for the public
I think the planning should be done in a
in a
different setting.
different setting.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
just wanted to,
We might consider having
Well, something.
2 basket.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fair.
That seems
For sure. It just
Okay, so-
common sense on that. But
you
one
want
guy
to be on
should
my committee?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
win every
And
category.
then Francis?
Well, the largest clam is the largest clam. You know, you
That's
can't-
true.
You can't penalize somebody because they're good at what they do.
Mhm.
But it's also a public thing where kids and moms and dads
And they're
partake.
commercial guys
If
that
you're
are
gonna
winning.
give participation prizes, you might want to up it to $20,000.
Awesome.
Yeah. Do 10K for the
Very
biggest clam?
a child category, adult
Yeah.
category.
It's-
I can see limiting it to 1 body of water per entry, per person.
We can kick it around, okay?
Yeah.
All right, we'll have another meeting.
You know, there are people that go hit every body of water, make almost a professional, then we can put a professional category.
So I think we tried that last time.
We tried, but the recreational winner had a commercial holder, so, and, it just didn't work
Are
out.
you there, John? I haven't heard from you.
Yeah.
I kind of agree that it should be, I think we should consider limiting entries to, I think 1 harbor might be a little light, maybe 2 harbors, something like that, but certain people do go in every harbor and they're clammers, they know the territory and they do tend to dominate. So I think we should look for a way to broaden this out as much as we can.
You want to be on the committee?
I think you have your committee.
I have David. Francis, I'm not sure. He's very busy, but maybe you might be a good voice.
I'll be on it too.
You'll be on it?
Yeah.
Okay, Ben. So do I take silence as I'm not able to?
I'll be a consultant. How's that?
Okay, fine.
They'll be available for.
We don't pay though. Is that okay? All right.
All right, pro bono consultant.
Thank you, thank you.
Susan, do you need to start booking anything on that? 'Cause it's-
Yes, I've already reached out to various different people, but I had no date yet, so we'll be fine.
Okay.
I'll take care of that.
Anybody have anything else on new business? Okay, move on to old business. Final horseshoe crab count for 2020,
That would be John, yes?
2021.
22.
Oh,
22.
sorry.
I shared my screen. Is that working?
Yes,
Yeah.
Yeah, I just graphed out the Northwest County Park numbers for the year. I didn't go this, I don't know, it was last night, I guess, was the next new moon cycle began, because the last full moon cycle 2 weeks ago produced very few horseshoe crabs. But you can see here that, I mean, we seem to have bracketed at least the Northwest Harbor horseshoe crab spawning season into May. We got you can see there's, total of 6 crabs in the new moon cycle at the end of April. And then the full moon cycle and the new moon cycle in May were very high. And then the first full moon cycle in June was again 6 crabs. So this seems to also fit the pattern pretty closely to what seen in the past. So this seems to be what we're looking at.
John, that kind of follows Napeague Harbor pretty closely too, although the numbers in Napeague Harbor are significantly more for our stretch of beach. I mean, with your new 530, you had 241. I think on that night we had close to 600. We put out 100 tags this year. We covered, I think it might have been 7 or 8 at the end of the day. But I went out last night. I found 1 male foraging. There was no breeding activity. That's over with.
That one night that we went.
No, it wasn't luck. That's just when
That's when they do it.
That's when they do it.
And this seems to follow what they've seen in other places in the Peconics, that it's a much earlier season than the breeding season farther up the island, and it tapers off in June. So not quite clear why Eastern Long Island should start earlier and end earlier than farther up the island. You'd think we would be our waters would be a little cooler and we might be a little later, but it's not the case.
Hey, John, what was your water temperature on your last night? Do you have an idea? Do you know offhand?
I think it was in the high 60s.
Okay, yeah. So Napeague was about the same.
Yeah.
Last night I think it was 75.3.
Really?
Something like that. It's up.
Yeah. It warmed up fast this past week.
So that's all I have.
thank you.
Thanks, John.
Okay, full moon Actebonic Harbor mosquito larvae count, June 14th.
That's John.
You again, John.
I went out and we did. I went out and Edwina and a friend of Edwina Von Gaal and a friend of hers went out on the 14th. It was the last full moon. We only were able to cover the west side of the harbor. We didn't have enough crew to cover the south side of the harbor, which typically doesn't show much breeding activity. And both myself and Edwina and her friend did find larvae, but they were mosquito larvae, but they were uniformly very, very small, the smallest I've ever seen. Stage 1s and some stage 2s, but an awful lot of stage 1s. And we had some communication from Tom Iwaneko from Suffolk County Vector Control before we went out, the day before we went out, and he told us that his crews had sampled farther up the island and found mosquito larvae in all stages, and they were really ramping up to do a lot of spraying of the island. And so it was kind of a surprise to me, anyway, that uniformly throughout the walk, we only found very, very small larvae. So I believe that he did do some spraying in Accabonac, only of the hot spots, and I believe he was able to use BTI and not have to use methoprim in that treatment. So we'll be going out again in the next full moon cycle in 2 weeks, and possibly do following new moon and full moon cycles at the end of July and into August as well, as the temperatures warm up, and we expect to see more breeding activity. So that's the report.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, John.
John, did you get a chance to see the new DEC shellfish closure special notice?
What's that? I didn't hear that, Bill.
Did you get a chance to see the special notice to shellfish harvesters that DEC just put out?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
What was it? What was it?
Where are they closed?
It affects floods in Montauk Lake, 3 Mile Harbor, Hard Creek, Napeague, and Accabonac.
Wow.
Most of them are fairly small changes where they change some of the dates for the conditional areas and stuff. But I guess we can talk about it next time.
When did you see that?
It came out this afternoon.
So we can circulate that email.
So the email you on the website.
This is from the sheet. Anyhow, everybody should, all the shellfish harvesters should be advised to, check any emails they got from the DEC.
Would you kindly send that to me and I'll add it to the
I
website?
can't send it to you here.
Okay. I usually get messages from the DEC, but
No
if,
signal in here.
Yeah, I do as well. I haven't seen anything come into my email though either.
I got it at 1:48 p.m.
I have it, Bill. I can forward it to them.
Okay.
would you send it to me and then I'll add it to the website?
All right, I already sent it.
Thanks.
All right.
Wow.
Matt, anyone on the phone?
Thank you, Francis.
0 callers, thank you.
Thank you. All right, committee reports, pump out boats. Request from boat captain to name the boats.
I went down the other day to see the boat and to meet Savannah. She's very enthusiastic and wonderful, and I'm going to go back on Wednesday. And she said she would show me how everything works. So I wanted to see. Yeah, she's very, very enthusiastic.
She knows what she's doing.
Yeah. So last time we had a meeting, we did discuss her, I guess Mike brought it up, that the people in the harbor that she cleans their, waste and so forth, has suggested to her Queen Bee as a name, and she loves that name. So I wanted to bring that to your attention and see if we can talk about that. She'd like to name
Wasn't it
it.
like honeybee or something?
No, Queen Bee.
Hey,
Queen Bee.
hey guys, this didn't, I've been handling pump out boats. This kind of sidelined me at the last meeting. And, naming boats, for starters, these are work boats. Okay.
Yeah, it can
You
be.
don't name work boats. There's certain traditions that you observe here. You don't name work boats with sort of vanity, fun little diddly names, okay? For the trustees, it pretty much limits us to fish, fowl, and founding
Something
fathers.
clean water, 1, 2, or
Okay.
3. something
It's
like
not something that honestly I think we want to commemorate with kind of a diddly name. The boats are there to do a job.
Yeah.
My feeling is I could care less about names. I care about the work that they do.
work.
This was something that was started in Savannah. You're right. She's done a terrific job, and I hope she continues to do a good job. But I think these names, personally, I find them kind of out of place, and they would certainly fly in the face of what typically how you would name a work boat. And as an example, look at the ferry boats, like South Ferry, North Ferry. You don't see names typically like that on work boats. So,
But I agree with you, Jim, but then the New London Ferry, all those boats have a name, and the name identifies the boat. So I think, and we have multiple boats, I feel like the boat
well,
should be.
the name does identify the boat, and I think then that's fine.
Yeah.
Do I think I want to name the boat? Do I
No,
want to identify the boat with Queen Bee?
No.
I personally
Mhm.
feel that
No.
that's
You
kind
don't,
of
it's
inappropriate.
it's a work boat. It's, if you call it the politician because it's full of crap full of times.
But Bill, you're shining a good light on this, because I think when
That's
you
what
go
would
down,
happen now.
I think when you get down that road, this is real. I mean, you could name the boats, after local species of duck,
Or osprey.
fish,
Yeah.
something like
Okay,
that.
so
I'm not sure, I'm gonna be honest, I'm not sure that the pump out boat really
The
fits.
high iron.
That's a little more.
Closer to a mud hen or a canvasback than an osprey, almost, almost,
The reality is.
almost a great osprey.
Yeah, we go through quite a bit of staff on those pump out boats, and if we start naming them or by a certain person, once they're gone, what's going to happen with the next guy?
Yeah.
I think some kind of
You're gonna rename
clean water, 1, 2, and 3, or
Something like that.
something in that
Yeah.
generic.
Listen, we could, I personally, if we're gonna name them, let's.
I think we should name them Captain Rice.
Yeah.
this is the comedy hour, I say.
No, I mean,
Well,
You
I'm
wanna
gonna be honest,
differentiate-
it would be along those lines. I don't know that we would want to take, we could perhaps name them after some of the first trustee boards. We're certainly not going to go back to King George or Donegan or something like that. But I think, listen, I think historically, this good direction
Yeah.
we have right at our fingertips here.
Yep.
Okay, so let me ask you this, because I will see Savannah on Wednesday, and I did tell her, 6:30, you can watch our program. I brought this up in Mike's absence, and since I saw Savannah 2 days ago, I said I would, make sure it was on our agenda. So I'm not bringing this to you personally, because I don't serve on the
Yeah.
pump out boat
the
committee,
people,
but I thought it was well worth asking.
people of Montauk can call it whatever they wish.
Right. Are you open then? Are you saying that you're open to come up with names for the boats?
I'm
that will be
open to
historic?
that, much like what Ben described. I mean, Ben, it's a little different than the cross sound ferries because we're operating out of 3 different harbors.
Yeah.
Makes it a little less of an issue, but you know what? For simple identification of the
Yeah.
boats,
Just so we
to
know.
come up with something
Yeah,
that's a
1,
little
2,
more
and 3.
personal than
So
1, 2, or 3.
do you want to come up with some names then? And
Give
then,
it a couple, let's give it a
think about it
Yeah.
and come up with some
I like
names.
the fish fowl or fountain.
Yeah, some kind of,
Flounder one,
Yeah.
no, flounder two.
I think clear water or clean water
Yeah.
are
Your
the
flounder can be
used
part of it,
already.
because the fish, but, you know, your flounder,
Gotta go with
I was trying to like a bottom.
a
Lobster.
lobster, I was just gonna say.
Lobster.
Hey,
Yeah.
quite often, boats are named after seabirds as well.
Mm-hmm.
Plover,
Be nice,
Yeah.
gull.
the idea of seabirds.
Oyster catcher.
And then like, how does the captain identify themselves if they're
Oh,
on
we just,
the radio?
you know, oyster
Just
catcher one.
trustee.
Mostly they,
trustee boat oyster catcher.
We can get Savannah.
Right now, it's trustee boat 3 Mile Harbor, trustee boat
trustee pump out boat, but it's only one, you know.
Montauk.
We can get her a Queen Bee t-shirt that she can wear.
Oh, I gave her an East Hampton Town Trustee baseball hat
Okay.
when I visited with her, and she was very appreciative. All right, so think about it, and,
Yeah.
all right, so thank you.
All right, Matt, one last time. Anybody on the phones?
You have 0 callers. Thank you.
All right. Anybody have anything they want to bring up before we get into administrative?
The only thing that's come to my attention while we were sitting here, it came in that there's some floating docks and stuff that are moored off up the end of the of 3 Mile Harbor by Sokai.
Yeah, John sent an email about them today.
Okay.
I think David, he almost said David was going to be installing it tomorrow.
For who?
Jay Sharon responded to our inquiry this morning, and he talked to David Whalen, and David is installing those docks on private, off someone's property, and he'll be doing that either tomorrow or Wednesday, according to Jay. So Marine Patrol is aware of it, and they shouldn't be there by the end of the week.
Well, we'll check to see if they're permitted.
Yeah, are they permitted by the trustees?
No.
No,
What do you mean, no?
Presumably he's bringing them to a legal dock. He's installing a legal dock.
I mean, some of these, they're permitted docks that come in and out every year. He's just putting one in. Yeah. I mean, we'll check to
Hey
make sure
guys,
they're
not for
permitted.
nothing, I think we do. This deserves being looked into a little
Yeah, I
more.
agree.
For the simple fact that if you're installing an illegal dock, we're not entertaining any permits.
No, but I mean, there are docks right now that people take them out
Yeah, but
in the winter.
I just don't recall hearing about David
Okay.
stockpiling floating docks and then going around and installing it.
This
you know?
will receive further investigation.
Yeah.
that's how,
If
we do make
We
some
would look
people
silly
take
if
them out
we
in the winter.
found out later that it was an illegal dock situation.
Okay, on a different subject, Georgia, I did get heard from Billy Hayjack earlier in the week, that there's a 25 Cove Hollow farm. They've got a boat pulled up on the beach over there.
Yeah,
And that's at a house that's typically had a mooring permit, so I
Yeah.
don't know what that's all about, but
Bloomingdale, they have a mooring permit and they have that walkway permit. They didn't seem to be good at installing them. I think your number
okay.
before
Anyway,
you had them.
if
Yeah.
we can get that
Yeah.
kind of sorted, that would be a good reach out.
This Thursday, 10:30, there's a Georgia Fair meeting here.
Yes. Okay, and just to give you guys an update, the algae harvester will be going in the water, I believe, this coming Tuesday, not tomorrow, a week from tomorrow. So that work will undoubtedly start probably that same day.
Next week?
And we've gotten, I think everybody's received the notice of commencement that Sarah distributed.
Is this a little later than?
It is,
Yeah.
it is.
How often do they do that?
How often do they do
They
that?
go out and
What they do is they operate for about 60 days. What's happened, this is the first year that we've actually had permits intact for the beginning of the season. So we're kind of getting back on track. And up to this point, quite honestly, it was going to be a little difficult to launch it because there wasn't enough water in Georgia Pond to basically get it in Georgia Cove. There was basically mud flat there.
Levels gone up.
Yeah, no, I think we're in good shape there.
Cool the bottom up. Oh. That's it.
I got a kayak. No, I'm not practical. I'm getting a kayak, so I would love to go Northwest Creek.
We're buying it.
No, it's my birthday. I know.
Oh.
I can go there too. It just dawned on me when he said I would go on a boat.
Yeah, that's the Georgia Pond Steering Committee meeting, 10:30 to 12 on Thursday.
And that's here?
That's it.
Okay.
And actually, Ben,
Mhm.
you're on the Ponds Committee. You could attend.
Yeah, that's why I'm taking a note here. Writing it down and remind myself.
Could attend.
Mhm. Well, I'll do my best to make it. Let's start with that.
Anything else? That'd be a record.
I
Yeah,
know.
right?
Gosh.
All right, move on to payment of the bills. Following bills need to be paid. East Hampton Marina, $937.66 for gas and maintenance. Hodgson Rust LLP for legal services, 1603 Deepwater Wind, 3208 for Little Northwest Creek for legal services. Just so everyone knows that there is no action that's being taken at the moment on Little Northwest Creek. We did receive a notice of claim, but that's as far as it's gone. So this invoice is for preparatory work on that. No.
Well, this is a consequence of dredging. What we probably should do is we're going to, Francis and I talked before the meeting, is schedule an executive session to bring everybody up to speed on the status of some of this litigation that's out there.
On everything.
Yeah, it's not a discussion that should occur here.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, it's not, I don't think there's anything to discuss with Deepwater Wind. This is just administrative
Yeah,
stuff.
and I did go through these bills and they seemed,
Yeah, they're all
reasonable.
reasonable.
Yeah.
So are you making a motion?
I'd like to
John,
make a motion to pay the bills.
Well, I didn't really hear that very well, but, I'd be more comfortable holding off on the Little Northwest Creek legal payment until we maybe get a chance, all the members get a chance to kind of understand a little better what's gone on so far. That's how I feel anyway. I don't want to hold it up if the rest of the board feels it should be paid.
But most of it, I'll tell you what, there was a FOIL request. A lot of it, this invoice is for the work they've done on that, filtering our emails, our phone calls, all that stuff. I know everybody submitted to that FOIL request. So, that's what most of it is, but whatever you guys want to do.
I'm fine with it.
I don't see us contesting the bill because quite honestly, you can go through it. It was a detailed bill, gave dates, times, and who fielded either a phone call, email, or whatever. So,
The invoice is up.
Well, I'll second your motion.
John, did you see the invoice?
I did.
Invoice? Okay. All right, so we have a motion.
By Jim, and I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, well, we're still gonna do the executive
Executive
session.
session, yeah.
Mhm.
If anybody wants to look at these, take a quick look.
I think it's gonna be right there. So,
Put the email.
What about the other bills?
Well, the other bill was moving Northwest Creek.
No, we had one from East Hampton Marina.
Make a motion to pay the bills.
Oh, East Hampton, oh, I'm
Yes, you
sorry.
made a motion and I seconded.
Oh, that's for all
Pay
the
the
bills.
bills.
Oh, it's for everything.
Yes, for everything, sorry.
All right. And we have minutes from June 13th.
I read them, sent my suggestions to Allison, but everything looked great. Other than the suggestions, there was a spelling in a paragraph of the last name, three different ways, but little things. John, did you read the minutes yourself? No,
I don't remember if I did. I saw them. She sent them right after the meeting.
right?
I don't remember if I looked through them or not.
Yeah, I just made some small suggestions. For instance, the gentleman who came in last meeting, Pettigrew, I added that boatyard should probably be put in there for future reference because private road is not, readily known. But just small things. She did a very good job. So
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and then I have a note here, vote to pay Dr. Kobler, and they've already done it. Anyway, we voted to accept his proposal, so,
I thought we already did this.
I mean, he doesn't do the work until we pay his invoice, so he
So we want to pay them.
I'd make a motion with pay.
Yeah, I think it's,
And I'll second it.
all in favor?
Aye.
John?
Sorry, I didn't hear any of that. Not well enough to.
Okay, there was a question about Dr. Gobler's invoice, but the remark was that we voted to accept his proposal, so in essence, we voted to pay his invoice.
Is this for the whole, the amount for 2022?
Don't we usually do it that
It's
way?
for 2022.
I don't know. Do we usually pay this early on?
always pay him usually much earlier than June.
But do we pay the whole thing at once?
Yes, the whole thing at
Yeah.
once.
This is smaller practices we haven't been.
He has to pay his interns and for the equipment and lay out the money, so.
Getting the wrong business.
Well, do we want to make a motion then to?
Make a motion, we pay Dr. Gobler's bill.
I'll second.
All in favor?
So, John,
Did it change much from last year? Do you know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
went
we asked
through it.
for additional.
We got more stuff and it went on the site list, but it wasn't.
I'm sorry, who seconded the motion?
$74,844. It should, it actually has a copy in there.
Yes, you do.
And,
It's right here at the
Do you
end.
want to mention that? The payment to the thing, anything about the rights?
Not now,
Yeah.
Not yet, no.
Okay.
not now.
Oh, I know, he said,
You're talking
we got
about
the payments for the sand, and normally we transfer a portion of that to a license fund.
Oh, that, yes, okay. So are we doing that? Has it
Let's
been
make a
done?
motion. I mean, I think we sort of put it in place for years, but it's always good to do it at.
No, we've approved it each year.
Yeah, very good.
So shall we make a motion for this year or do we need to?
Yes.
Well, it seemed like there was some question about either the name or the license fund in general. I
Yes.
wasn't at that meeting, so,
Okay, so we're doing a little bit more investigative work than I'm waiting for the result of on the license fund.
okay, I'm gonna make a motion that we table transfer of 10 grand for this year until such time as that's been sorted and settled.
Well, the fund's not going away. We just might change the name.
No, I mean,
That's all.
The contribution will be made.
I think there's gonna be, at some point, a little bit of discussion, I guess, that was occurred at this meeting a few months ago. I did have some members of the public do reach out to me, and it was probably about a half a dozen. And the consistency of the dialogue, totally didn't talk about Captain Rice and the man's history or anything else. The questions really revolved around why an elected board is involved in taking public monies and putting them towards scholarships. It's a bit inconsistent, and I never really thought of it until then.
Well, you can go back to the idea that we're not the typical elected body where we are a nonprofit.
We are a nonprofit.
We're not,
But are you saying people had a problem with?
Well, that was the question. It wasn't actually, the questions didn't even cover Captain Rice. All 6 questions went to, I can't understand how an elected body is in the business of issuing scholarships.
well, it's not the business we're in.
Yeah.
Well-
Someone left the money to.
Well, I think that it
Yeah.
really needs to be tabled because there's this little bit of history that we have to talk about with this whole scholarship thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's hold off on it.
Scholarship season is over.
Well, I'll just say, anytime we can help our young people get a higher education, it's a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's good. We have,
That's a good point.
with graduation day was last week, so that was fine. Yeah.
So what'd you guys do this weekend? Anything else? John, you have anything?
No, I don't.
Anybody want to make a motion?
I'll make the motion to go home and close this meeting.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
All right.
Thank you,
Nice to see
everybody.
everybody.